Hi, welcome to today's edition of History Homeschool from the Hayward House in Bluffton, South Carolina. Today we are in our sewing room and we will be talking about Eliza Pinckney and the importance of indigo in South Carolina's history. Indigo was one of the three main cash crops before the Civil War. The other two were cotton and rice. Indigo was prized throughout the world. This is an artist rendering of Eliza Pinckney. There are no known portraits of her, even though there are many portraits of her famous family. Eliza, at the age of 16, moved over from the West Indies with her family. Her mother was ill, her brothers were in England studying, and her father was called back to the West Indies. So he left Eliza in charge of the three plantations. They were not running, so she needed to find a crop that would make it productive. Indigo can be found in the wild. However, Eliza requested that her father send her indigo seeds from the West Indies. Indigo is produced with it makes the dye through the leaves. Indigo is a very labor-intensive process. Oftentimes, the vats and work area were set up at least a quarter mile away from the main house. Eliza figured out how to grow with the assistance of a helper her father sent, figured out how to grow indigo in South Carolina. South Carolina indigo was equal to French indigo. Indigo production was a very labor-intensive process. Oftentimes, the work was set up about a quarter mile away from any of the main structures. Eliza had them cut the indigo into 1.5 square cubes, and it made exporting indigo much easier. Indigo was, when you were ready to use the indigo, you would use stale urine or uric acid, and it would dissolve the indigo, and then you would dye your cloth. The cloth would turn green, and like a yellowish green, and then you would pull it out, and when it reacted with oxygen, it turned blue. We have several examples of quilts dyed with indigo in our collection at the Hayward House. These were prized for their deep blue color. These two examples were purchased after the exhibit at Coastal Discovery Museum, and they're authentic 1700 quilts. In our collection is a copy of William de Brom's 1757 map. In the corner of it, the cartouche shows the process of indigo. You can see the enslaved cutting the indigo cakes. Indigo cakes were shipped in the barrels. Eliza married wealthy planter Charles Pinckney, and they had 4 children, 3 of which lived to adulthood. One of them, Charles Coatsworth Pinckney, was very famous. He signed the Constitution. Eliza was well respected, and when she died in 1793, President George Washington requested to be one of her pallbearers. Indigo was used to dye many things, including flags. South Carolina's first battle flag and many of the early state flags. Indigo was also used to dye clothes, other types of cloth, including blue jeans. If you'd like to learn more about Eliza Lucas Pinckney, I recommend checking out these books. You can find the letter book of Eliza Lucas Pinckney online. A local, Margaret Pickett, wrote a biography entitled Eliza Lucas Pinckney. Historical fiction was done by Natasha Boyd. It's called The Indigo Girl, and we sell this in our gift shop. Thank you for joining us at today's edition of History Homeschool at the Hayward House in Bluffton, South Carolina.